y'all, and welcome to the Healthy by Heather Brown podcast, where I encourage you in healthy mind, body, and spirit through my Sunday reset. Let's get into it. Here at the Healthy by Heather Brown show, we're on a mission to help women take back their health, mind, body, and spirit God's way. No woo-woo, new age fluff, or mainstream nonsense. In a world pushing quick fixes and burnout, we're choosing real wellness, intentional living, and faith-filled confidence. This show is for you, sister, and it's made possible by this incredible community. If you believe in this mission, here's how you can help. 1, pause and leave a 5-star review. It's free and makes a huge impact. Share with a bestie who needs this message. 3, support the mission financially. Every little bit helps. Links for PayPal and Venmo are in the show notes. Let's rise up and change the culture, showing the world what healthy, empowered, faith-filled women really look like. All right, everybody, you've probably seen people flexing in their infrared saunas on Instagram while sipping their chlorophyll water. But is it just another overpriced wellness trend, or could it actually save your hormones, help you detox plastic, boost your weight loss, and even strengthen your kids' immune system? Today, we're finding out from the co-founder of Sunlighten Saunas, which, y'all, Connie, welcome into the show. I'm so pumped to have you today. Eric and I are obsessed with our Sunlighten sauna. So yay, welcome to the show. So glad to have you.
I'm so glad to be here. We call that obsession the addiction you feel good about.
Yes, exactly. Well, Connie, tell everybody just a little bit more personally about how you got started. How did you first hear about saunas? Like, give us kind of the background story.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick backstory because, I have a quick version, not a long version. So the really super quick version is that my brother was really, really ill and he tried everything to cure himself. Nothing worked. And it wasn't until his dentist in St. Louis said, Jason, I think that the mercury that's in your amalgam fillings is leaking into your body. I think that's what's causing you to be so sick and have chronic fatigue and have vertigo and have all these different conditions that he could not get better from. And he went and traveled to try and see physicians, and nobody was able to diagnose him or help him. And then his dentist took it one step further, which I'm so grateful for, is he said, I've been hearing and reading about a technology called infrared, and it's a light wavelength that's absorbed by heat that can help you detoxify and potentially remove that mercury from your body. And he bought an infrared sauna and it changed his life. And then I changed mine proactively. I was working at Procter & Gamble on the pharmaceutical side.
Whoa.
With my, at that time, Aaron and I, at that time we were just dating, yes, and at the new stage. And I decided we decided collectively to make career changes because we saw the transformation that it made in my brother's life. And both of us separately, one of the reasons we're enjoying our pharmaceutical careers, we really felt like we were making a difference and we wanted to leave a footprint or handprint and all over this world, especially when it came to the wellness space. And so we, left corporate America and we left, that type of pharma industry, and I loved it. And I felt like I was making a difference, and I was. Of course. It's really important to have medicine. It's really important for sure. I just loved the fact that my brother was able to cure himself, not just take a pill, and he was able to do it without adverse reactions, without side effects, in the comfort of his own home.
Wow.
So that was how I got started, and I spent the rest of my life just committing to mastering the delivery of infrared and mastering how it looks, how it feels, the quantity, the quality, other products, et cetera. And then, now I'm really into education and helping people understand the value and understand what it is and why it works and how they can access it if they so choose.
No kidding. So I feel like you just said a lot of things that people are going to be like, whoa, what? So first of all, I'm like, you guys, if
okay, dial it back.
No, I love it. So I'm like, you guys, if you did not already listen to our dental explosion episode, I will link that in the show notes where we talk more just about fluoride and the alternative for fluoride that starts with an H, and now the name is escaping me, and root canals and just all the things about amalgam. Did I say it correctly?
Yes.
So y'all check that out, first of all. Second of all, will you tell everybody, like, so how did the sauna help him heal for somebody that's hearing this for the first time? And did he also get his fillings removed? Like, what did all that look like?
Yes. So all of the above. So yes, the fillings were removed, and that has to be, I don't know if there's still people, I mean, this is over 20, plus years ago. So I don't know if there's still people that have mercury fillings in their mouth. But if you do and you want to get them changed, which I would highly recommend, there is a process and you have to be careful with that process. You need to go to somebody who is trained in removing mercury. So yes, he got his fillings removed, but it was a process. It was step by step. And this whole thing, this whole experience, as far as him curing himself with infrared therapy, it took a while. And that was one of my aha moments of, why is it taking so long? And is there a way to change the delivery of infrared into the body so that it can be more effective and more efficient? So that was one of my just kind of side thoughts. As far as how it works, just to answer that question, is that it helped him detoxify. So it helped to remove the mercury from his body, and infrared energy can do that, because one of the ways to detoxify, there's many different ways to detoxify your bodies through your organs, and infrared also helps with those modes as well, with your livers and your kidneys. But another way is through your sweat, through your skin. And so helping to remove the mercury lightened his load, right, his toxic load, and that helped him get more energy. And he actually physically looked different.
Wow.
And I think that's, as moms and women, it's one of the greatest advantages of infrared is it makes you feel so great. And so then that transcends into a radiant beauty that is able to be escaped, that it's may have been locked up inside because you weren't healthy, you weren't 100% healthy, which is the situation for my brother.
Wow, that's wild. So will you tell everybody that's new to this, what is the difference between near, mid, and far infrared?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer that, but let me go back one step to that, and just kind of explain that infrared is a spectrum. And I always call it a spectrum within a spectrum, because it's a spectrum of light that comes directly from the sun's spectrum. And the little portion that's the infrared category is so powerful and so amazing, because each aspect of the spectrum, which is what you asked about, far, mid, and near, has its separate healing properties, because it penetrates or is absorbed into the body at different places and different levels. So a lot of times we hear about like broad spectrum, like broad spectrum antibiotics, or like not, I'm bringing out my pharma days, NSAIDs or non-steroidals, which help decrease inflammation all over the body, right? And that's what infrared it is. It is the most amazing multivitamin, that you could ever have, because it actually sets off this biochemical cascade into your body that impacts every single system. So it's not like, oh, it just helps me detox, or, oh, it just helps my skin. It affects every single system in your body, which is why I'm so passionate about it, especially for women, who help them with their longevity and help them. Ultimately, my ultimate goal is just for people to be able to feel great, so that they can do more of what they love to do with the people they love to do it with.
And will you correct me if I'm wrong, Connie, but don't you normally get that light from the sun before 10 a.m.? Is that accurate?
You get the light from the sun all the time.
Okay.
So there's early morning sun and late morning. So sunrise, let's say it a better way, sunrise and sunset. A lot of times your eyes will see part of the visible spectrum. So, I didn't answer the difference between, I need to go back.
I know, sorry, I keep getting so many more questions. I'm like, ooh.
No, that's good. I just realized when I was saying that. So that seeing the visible part, so seeing near infrared, which is actually hard to see because it's invisible, but right next to near is red light. And so seeing that at the sunrise and sunset helps with your circadian rhythm. It helps being transmitted into the body. But the issue with that is we're not able to get enough quantity into our body. And there's also other rays that you're being absorbed as well, right? You're getting some of the UV, and a lot of people don't want a lot of UV, and they don't want some of the other parts of the spectrum. That's what's so magical about the infrared spectrum, is because we're just harnessing the power of the sun's natural healing process without the other parts of the wavelengths that are harmful. So it's just the healing parts. And so real quickly, I will address your other question, which was, what's the difference between far, mid, and near? Far is absorbed deeply into the body, and its claim to fame, there's lots of them, but one of my favorites is the detoxification aspect and the reduction of inflammation in your body, as well as all the extensive cardiovascular benefits. So that's far. And then mid is excellent for inflammation reducing for the joint and tissues. It's also great for boosting weight loss when you combine it between mid and far. And then near and red light are received by light, by LEDs inside the sauna, and those are more superficial. So those actually penetrate the skin. So the other ones, the far and mid, are absorbed so that you get a transfer of energy. Heather, it's energy medicine. So that energy is leaving, the back. So you can kind of see the heaters behind me. It's leaving that, it's transferring, it's going into the body, and whether it's far or mid, it's being absorbed into different cells and impacting your cells in different ways. It's essentially, I always think of it as they supercharge your cells, all of the different wavelengths, but they supercharge your cells in different modes of action in different ways. So ideally, it's great to have all four. Not everybody can do that, but if you can, you get the maximum benefit.
Yes, I love that so much. So you've already kind of started to tell us a little bit about what some of the benefits are, obviously, of like healing and detoxing and just the many systems that it can affect. So will you tell us and maybe give us some of your favorite studies? What are some of the actual studied benefits that you can quote? And or like I was laughing because a pediatrician was like, oh my gosh, my husband was making a comment about my kid being sick and how we should put him in the sauna of all things. And I was like, I actually kind of agree with your husband. So can you maybe just speak in a way that other medical professionals will be able to hear it and be like, oh, okay, so this isn't just like assuming it might kind of work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So one of my favorite studies that anybody can, validate quickly, so that it's not just Connie Zack saying this. They can go and Google, and I'm going to tell you what to Google. You can Google WAON therapy, WAON, infrared therapy, and there's extensive research on WAON as well as retrospective analysis. So there's summaries. I mean, there's just so much data. It's so incredible on infrared. And what I love about it is when all of the researchers, when they applied WAON, which is just another word for, soothing warmth or infrared, when they applied it, they did it for a brief amount of time. And I love that as a busy mom because that's the one thing I can't ever get back, and the one thing I can never get more of is time. And so I love when you can find a hack where it's a good use of your time, and it's also not, an extensive amount of time. And WAON was 15 minutes. So that's substantial. So some of the data that they discovered was it can really, save lives, which is massive, right? So there was a 5-year study where they looked at the people with coronary disease and found out that people that used infrared had a 50% less reduction in hospitalization and death.
Wow.
Right. It's like,
dang.
And it's so easy to do. Like, to not do it means you're making choices, right? You're making choices of not being as kind and gentle and healing, to your body as you easily could. And it's not hard, which we can talk about. Like, that's one of my favorite benefits is like, it's so easy to do and it feels good. It's not like you're doing something where, like, when I don't know if you do HIIT, but do you like it?
Well, it depends on the boot camp. So I mostly love the strength training days, but I'll occasionally do a cardio day.
Yeah. Well, same. I usually do strength training, but and I don't love it while I'm doing it. So I'll be completely honest. When I'm done, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm really glad that I spent that, bit of time doing it. But during it, I'm like, how many of these things am I going to do? I'm going to pass
When
out.
is the timer going to go off? Come on.
Right. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've just through 7. Now there's one more. But so anyway, my point about that is I have to mentally like talk to myself, right? Like I have to really, in order to think, okay, I'm jump roping. Like how many more times am I have to do this? And I, instead I try and reprogram my brain. So it's a good mental exercise. But with the sauna, it feels really great.
Yes.
So it's an easy habit to make. And I love hearing the fact that you guys are, now obsessed, with it, because that's the goal, is that, you crave it and you want to do it more. So, because that's when you get all the benefits. So as far as studies, so weigh on, most of the benefits are on longevity, as well as heart health, all the heart, anything related to heart. Infrared is so incredibly powerful. Detox, I want to mention that really quickly. I did touch on the fact that infrared can help, remove toxins through sweat, as well as blood and urine. But the one data point that I find extremely powerful that I'd love to share is in the BUS study, which stands for blood, urine, sweat. The research analyzed the removal of toxins through blood, urine, and sweat. And they found that there was times that through sweat, they removed toxicants that weren't found in blood and urine, and mercury was one of them.
Oh my word. Wow.
Right. So in I think it was 15% of the participants that they had no levels of mercury in their blood and urine, but 100% of those 15% had it in their sweat. So that just shows you the power of sweat and just how important it is to get the flow going, in your body, which is what infrared is so amazing at, is it, that energy transfer. When it gets into your body receives it. It starts to literally move your cells around, move your water molecules, change the structure. Those changes that are happening, like when your molecules start dancing, starts to impact your mitochondria, starts to increase mitochondrial function. And then that's when that cascade, it's kind of like picture like this beautiful fountain inside your body. That's just, you're starting to get more flow from your body to other parts of your body that need it. That's why you see the increased energy, the decreased inflammation, because your body is now moving internally and that it wasn't doing it before. And so many people have pain because parts of their body are stuck. The nerves are stuck. They're inflamed. And if we know of a way, which we do with near, mid, far, and red, where we can decrease inflammation safely and naturally in your body, why not do that first?
Yes.
And then if that doesn't work, then there's other modalities.
Yeah. So Eric and I love getting in the sauna. Specifically for him, a lot of times it's when he's super stressed, because he's like, you physically cannot have high blood pressure after you've been in the sauna. It's the wildest thing for him, especially. But we like how it helps reduce cortisol. It supports thyroid health. It boosts your metabolism. And also a big reason we use it is to aid in muscle recovery and soreness, like we were talking about earlier, from if I do a HIIT workout or what have you. Or if you go
always sore.
Yes. So would you say that it can, this is maybe a silly question, but do you think it can replace a workout or just enhance results post weight training? Or what is your take on that?
Yeah, we call it an exercise mimetic. So it mimics exercise. So do I think it can replace? Yes. In fact, that question brings me back to the basement when we started the company, when I had the great pleasure of being able to literally talk to every single one of our customers. We didn't have that many.
That's so cool, though.
It wasn't that hard to do, but I got to know them all, because I would also, when I was having really challenging days, when I wasn't able to get a hold of anybody, I would call them and I would check in, and they'd be like, hey, Jeannie, how are you doing? Hey, Chris, how are you doing? Hey, Kurt. And so I got to hear all the stories. And one person, Jerry was her name, that I remember so well, is when she bought the sauna, she was overweight, and having that extra weight caused joint pain all over. also having that extra weight prevented her from exercising. She really physically couldn't exercise. Yeah. She couldn't go up and down the stairs. And so she did the sauna. She did the Sunlighten sauna, and it changed her life because it helped her lose weight. And then once she started to lose weight, her joints felt better. And then once they started to feel better, then she was able to walk.
Wow.
So she was able to, right.
That's incredible.
She was able to,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. It made me, I was so, this is a long time ago, Heather, and I still remember that conversation. I remember the feeling, and I remember just thinking, this is so important to tell other people, because all these people that can't exercise, and there's all this information about exercise, and what if you physically can't do it? Yeah. What are you doing to replace it? So to answer your question directly, yes, it can replace it. In the perfect world, and that's, I always try and shoot the stars, is I would do both.
Okay.
Because I think it's an excellent way, and I would always exercise first. If you're going to do them both in the same day, then I would always start with the exercise and then finish with the Sunlighten sauna session, because you've started some mobility in your body. And when you get inside the Sunlighten, then that infrared energy is going to keep your core temperature up. It's going to keep your heart rate up. It's going to keep the oxygen flowing throughout your body. And when you're done, you're just going to have this radiant, feeling. And it's going to help you also accelerate, your muscle recovery faster. Yes. So when you do those workouts, you're going to feel that you're getting that whole lactic acid, change. And so yes. So yes and yes. Yes, you can replace, and yes, it's an adjunctive and enhancer.
Yes. So I will say that is one of my favorite things to do, especially if it's on a Saturday or a Sunday. I love to walk outside if I can with my weighted vest, and then to come back, and I've had the sauna preheating, so it's ready for me to just jump right in. And then I typically will aim for between 25 and 30 minutes, which I'm going to ask you about that next. And while I'm in there, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll actually pull up. So what's really cool about the Sunlighten sauna, y'all, is that it can connect to Bluetooth, so I can listen to either a podcast or a sermon or a YouTube video. And so sometimes I've started looking up these lymphatic drainage massages that I can even do while I'm in the sauna. And I love doing that. And then my husband we have a cold plunge as well. So he'll like to go and then get in the cold plunge for 3 minutes, come back in the sauna, and then end in the cold plunge. So your body has to warm up naturally. But knowing all that now, I'd love to know, or knowing that, Connie, I'd love to hear from you. What do you think is the ideal timestamp to be in there? I know you said you can do 15 minutes because that's a great way busy moms can still get it in. But what are almost like the benefits at, maybe it's 5, 10, 15, all the way up to 30 plus minutes. And so that's question number one. And then question number two is, what do you think is the optimized and best way to do with the cold hot therapy together?
So as far as your first question, the really optimal zone, I would call it, is between 30 and 40 minutes.
Okay.
So if you can stay into 40, because and this is my analogy for anybody who is a runner, because I like to run. And I always find when I run, I like to do a 5K. Okay. So that's my dream. And that first mile of 3 for me, and especially because where I live, the first however many feet is all like it's massive hill. And I know.
Not how you want to start, but go on.
I know. Not how you want to start. I know. So I like to reference it as that first mile is tough. It's challenging. And then there is a point in really almost every run, and sometimes even the longer runs, I have this point sooner, is that there's a tipping point, right? Where all of a sudden you feel like you could just keep running forever. And it's similar feeling when you're inside the sauna. There's a point where your body is just like so full of this wonderful energy. It feels so good. And like the spigot of your body, like that starts to just ooze out sweat, has totally been released. And your body just is like, oh my gosh, this is the best. And typically a lot of people, on average, everybody's different, but on average, a lot of times that happens between 30 and 40, especially for people who are not used to infrared energy and or do not exercise and or are dehydrated, or they just don't exercise a lot. People who are extremely, extremely fit, tend to I would shorten that tipping point. So I would say that those people would probably be closer to like 15, 20 minutes and then then extend it to 30. So between 30 and 40 minutes on average is ideal. You can, and I just did today. So I mean, you can do less. I did 15 minutes because I wanted to get it in, and 15 minutes is better than 0 minutes. So here's something that's really important for those who are listening, those who are considering doing this. Consistency is way more important than intensity.
Ooh. I'm like, that preaches to a lot of life, Connie. I'm like, but tell us about the sauna.
Right. No, yeah, 100%. The consistency is just so much more important because you're getting this energy absorbed into your cells. So you're getting this supercharging, and the more that you do it, the better it is. It's a better experience for your body to be consistent than to go in and experience this intensity and do it for an hour 1 day a week. Like that while that's fine, but what about those other, days? And so that's what I always recommend is consistency. And if you can only do 15, that's fine. And my other tip, because I know us women very well, if you do that, you have to have grace with yourself. And you cannot have any mental talk that says anything but thank you for this gift of time that I have done something for myself, my body, my mind, and my spirit.
Yes.
And do not say, oh, like I have to get out. Like, don't say that.
Yes. And I think, and that's one big thing that I've been working on recently is flipping the switch instead of I have to get out and do
yes, I get to
get out because my babies need me to do next, or what have you. But
I just did that yesterday with the soccer because there were so many moms that were complaining because there's this thing here in Kansas City where Mother's Day, I'm not sure who started this, but Mother's Day is a big day, or Mother's Day weekend there is actually a tournament in town that's called Mother's Day Weekend Soccer Tournament. And so there's always, ever since my kids were little, there's always been soccer on Mother's Day, always. And I was listening to all these women yesterday. Aiden had a game at 8:00 and people were talking about Mother's Day, et cetera. And they're like, yeah, I had to get up at 6:30. Well, I had to come to this soccer game. And my shift is exactly what you just said is, as a mother, I mean, there's nothing for me like better than embracing in my kids' love for the things that they love to do, and to share that moment with him on my special day is a privilege. Yeah. And I get to do that.
That's exactly right. Well, we're also a soccer family, so fellow soccer moms unite. Okay, so talk to us a little bit about, if you don't mind, and actually, I wonder if maybe you could even speak to this or not, but I saw this little chart that was kind of going viral around on Instagram that was like, at 15 minutes, this is what a sauna can do for you. At 20 minutes, this is what it can do for you. But do you have anything in your mind that you're thinking, like, if I do it this amount of time versus this amount of time, I guess what point you get to? Or do you think that that's kind of just like for the virality factor, if you will?
Yeah, I would not perpetuate that fact because in real life, which is what we're all living, this like practical life, and you're just doing the best that you can with the time and the resources that you have. And so this is a part of your lifestyle that you definitely should incorporate. And as often as you can, for as much as you can, is the answer. Yeah. And it's okay if you can only do 15 minutes. It is okay. And so that's really the important thing that I want to leave people with. I think the days of extreme, and this, like you said earlier, Heather, this goes that way in life. I think hopefully the days of extreme anything, I'm hoping that they're going, away.
Yes.
Because I really think where balance and peace and love and healthiness and, and feeling great and longevity, I feel like where all of that lives is in the moderate zone. It's not in the, I've got to take this at 200 degrees, or I've got to be in the cold plunge at 10 degrees. Like, like all these extreme answers, and I got to do it for 10 minutes. Like all these extreme, I just don't think that is, especially, I can speak to infrared because I know it so well.
Yeah.
It's not that way in the infrared world.
Okay. That's helpful to hear. And then what would be your take on the optimum thing to do with cold plunge versus sauna? And I will say I used to do cold plunge more, but I feel like the more that I've learned just about hormones and women, I actually don't know that I think it's the best for me to do the week leading up to my period. And what I've also read is maybe around ovulation or what have you. So I actually find myself now getting in the sauna more often. And if I feel like, I really want the extra recovery of the cold plunge or what have you, I'll do it. But I'm also not much of a winter kind of girl. So now that the weather's warming up, I'll probably be more prone to getting the cold plunge. So what do you think is, I guess, recommended from the Sunlighten to the cold plunge situation?
Yeah, that question, so I'll answer it briefly, but I just want to put, a seed out there for the future, and I could come back and we could dive into modalities, that being one of them, because there is a lot of new research and data being done specifically on women. So I need to wrap my mind around all of that before I would, come on and tell you, but I know the preliminary findings, and so at some point, if your audience, so you guys can let Heather know if that's something you want to know about, and you can throw her questions and everything, and I could come back and do a deep dive in that, as well as other modalities, sharing like infrared and other things. So as far as answering your question just succinctly, it is that either way works because both impact hormesis. So both of them are giving that shock to the body. Specifically for women, most women like to be able to end in a comfortable environment, which is typically the sunlight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. Will you describe what hormesis is in case I don't know?
Yeah, hormesis is shocking the body. Essentially, the old phrase, what doesn't kill you, like makes you stronger. So when you put your body into a state of shock, or you do something intentionally to change your body, so you make it cold or you make it hot. Or another example, we talked about strength training, because this is easy for people to understand, because anybody who has lifted weights, or if they have done intense stretching or anything where you're physically you're tearing the muscles, you're stretching your ligaments, you're doing something that is physically changing your body. Afterwards, a lot of times you're sore, right? And it hurts. That soreness is exactly what you want to feel, because that's the hormesis. That's the shock. That's the change in your body. Same thing with cold and hot. Is you're changing it. You want to do that because that activates specifically your heat shock proteins, and your heat shock proteins are those personal trainers inside that help your body become stronger. And they're like, go, keep going. You can do 10 more. You can do it. Those are that's the talk inside your body that's happening when you shock it. Okay.
Yeah, that's very helpful. I was laughing when you were talking about the tipping point of the sauna and stuff earlier, because Connie, I seriously, I do feel like I'm okay those first 15 or so minutes, and then when I get to 20, I'm like, okay, I'm pouring some sweat now, I'm feeling good. But then it's almost like I turn the corner by about minute 28, 29, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do 5 more minutes of this. And so I guess just hear me say that if you're listening to this episode and you've never done it before, that there will be almost like those runners' highs and lows that you were describing, and that's totally normal. And also just to give yourself grace. And if you want to start with 5 minutes, great. If you want to start with 10 minutes, great. It's all about, like you said, giving yourself grace and doing what your body can take at that time. But I do wish that, what I do is when I get in the sauna, I always throw back a pinch of salt to hydrate me from a cellular level, wash it down with water, and then I get the biggest water bottle I can find, and I put my Make Wellness hydrated peptides in it, take it in there so that I'm hydrating well in the sauna. But Connie, what do you do to hydrate while you're in the sauna, before or after all that?
Yeah, very similar. Is I always drink water before. My personal preference, I love to hear what your personal preference is as far as time of day. Mine's the morning. Okay. And so I hydrate before, and then I almost always bring in my water as well. And then I hydrate afterwards. Afterwards, I also add in electrolytes. Lately, because I've just been so active, so I've been doing it pre and post with electrolytes. And sometimes I do my own salt water mix, and sometimes I do, packets. But I really think it's really important because the infrared energy, it does move everything around, like I talked about, and increase flow. And through your sweat, and potentially your urine as well, you are going to, release some important minerals. So it's important that really important that you replace them for sure. And however you want to do that, whether it's through your water or through, different types of drinks, that's a personal preference.
Yeah.
But you do need to make sure you keep on top of that and have enough minerals in your body.
Absolutely.
With hydration.
And you asked me about time of day that we typically do it. I would say in general, Eric and I typically wait until we put the kids to bed. And then we, we'll turn, like he might get home from work at, 5:30. He turns on the sauna. So then by the time that we can get in at 8:10 or 8:15, it is piping hot and ready to go. And he'll take a turn and then I'll go jump in and then he might go get in the cold plunge and we, trade off. But I'm curious also, do you have any favorite what do you do when you're in the sauna? Do you like silence or do you have a routine? I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a loaded question. That's another podcast. But I'll tell you, really, because it depends so much, Heather, on what's going on in my life. So my sauna routine is not a standard, the same every single day. My sauna routine is based on what is going on internally, like what am I thinking about, what is coming up, how does my body feel? So I'm really leaning into being so aware of my thoughts, my body's feelings. Am I feeling any inflammation? And am I feeling any different? So I just do some assessment of all of that, which helps me figure out, because I have the Impulse, which has programs in it. And so it helps me figure out, do I want to do a program today, which typically I do. And if I do, which one? So I'll go through that. So that's kind of my assessment. And then the fun part that I love to do is to figure out, I always habit stack. And that's one of my favorite things for women, specifically with Sunlighten saunas, is it gives you the opportunity to do other things and enjoy other things that are great for your body while you are letting your body absorb all this just healing energy.
Yes.
And it's one of the few modalities that you can do that. You can't really do that when you run. You can think and you can, which is helpful, but it's not like you can do, stretch. It's not like you can try and deep breathe. I've never tried that when I'm running, but a lot, like I do some stretching. I do deep breathing sometimes. Sometimes I will just really work on meditation, but in a different way. I'll work on intention settings. I'll do moments of gratitude. Like this is such a great thing that I'm able to be in this space and receive this healing energy and to make myself a better person as a result, to make myself a better mom, to give myself more patience and also more energy. There's so many things that come with it. So that's why I said it's another podcast.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to stop there.
No, that's
because
okay.
I could keep going on and on and on. And if people have questions, like fire them towards me or you, and I'm happy to answer more.
Absolutely. That was so good. I really do. And we've done several podcast episodes on this, but I think the more that I have learned about, I'm currently taking a course to become a Christian health coach, Connie. And so a lot of the things that I've been reading just about red light therapy and about the sauna and about, whole health, mind, body, and spirit, I just am blown away by how much God literally designed our bodies to heal. And sweating is one of the most powerful built-in tools that he gave us to get out those toxins, like your brother's story emphasized. So I just want to encourage you guys that if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't know, if I have a sauna time or what have you, or maybe you don't have a sauna yet, or you're trying to figure out what that might look like.
like write this down as a goal. If you're hearing what we're saying and you're like, this might be something I'd like to add on, let it be something that you're saving towards, that you're working towards. And Connie and I will share at the end. We do have a discount code for you guys with Sunlighten that we can get into. But I know we're quickly running out of time. So I want to do some hot takes rapid fire with you, if that's okay, Connie.
Of course. This has been so much fun. I really enjoyed this. And I'm just so glad that we had the opportunity to chat
Same,
today.
sister.
So
I'm like, Connie and I are going to stay in touch after this, y'all. It's been a blast. So, okay, first question is dry sauna versus infrared, and why?
Infrared all day long, every day versus dry. I love the feeling of enjoyment, and I get more energy when I go through dry. It's very, very hot, and I tend to get zapped. And I want to feel as energetic as possible. And so to me, it's the perfect marriage between, sympathetic and parasympathetic, because it's helping, your body move while also giving you the relaxation because you're not doing anything.
Yeah, so good. Let's see. Do you think you can overdo sauna?
I think you can overdo anything, Heather. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and probably like what you talked about earlier, where it's like listen to your body. And is 60 minutes really realistic? Probably not the best for a long term, what have you. What is the biggest myth around saunas you want to bust?
I think people don't understand the complexity of infrared, that first of all, it is a spectrum of light and heat. So it's not just, in fact, it's not hot air. It's energy medicine that is absorbed into your body. That people don't understand. They don't understand the transformation piece of how the infrared energy works literally on your cells, and it helps your mitochondria. It helps you change your water molecules. The changes, it's pretty amazing. The changes are very amazing. And then the other thing they don't really understand is when people use the word infrared in a kind of just a broad way, and they don't necessarily understand that the type of infrared, the quality of the source of this energy matters. So you can't just go buy an infrared sauna and expect to get everything that we've talked about. You really have to get one that is researched, that has the highest quantity, because the highest quantity matters, because you need higher quantity in order to get it absorbed. You need a certain frequency in order to get it absorbed. You need a certain quality, like all of these things, you need to have a certain amount. It's like, choosing, as I talked about, how I feel like infrared is like an optimal multivitamin, because it just gives you, everything without the fillers. But you can buy lots of different multivitamins, right? And you can buy a lot with fillers.
Yes.
And you can buy a lot that aren't absorbed into your body. And so if you buy 500 milligrams of X, you're only really getting 20. Well, that's a waste. Right?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, so it's like, I don't want to waste my time, or money on anything. I mean, my gosh, we only have so much.
That's right.
And so let's choose wisely, and choosing the right infrared sauna, whether you choose, Sunlighten has 4 different collections, so you can go anywhere from the Solo, the Signature, Amplify, and Impulse. You cannot lose. All those 4 are great. Again, give grace to yourself. If you're going to hear anything from me, it's like, be kind to yourself and don't beat yourself up over a decision. Just make the decision on what's best for you, and then own it and enjoy.
Yes. Amen. Well, Connie, tell everybody in closing, the question that I ask every single guest is, how do you personally reset?
Sunlighten sauna all the way.
Yeah, girl. It is a great reset for
It
real.
is a great reset. I mean, if you want to know other ones, I can give you other ones. But especially when I travel, the time it is the greatest reset is if I've been gone, which just happened, if I've been gone traveling, and you're not in control as much when you travel, the resources and the wellness. I typically don't have a sauna, and I may or may not be able to get a workout in. I may or may not have the type of food that I normally have at home. I may not get the quality of sleep, all those things. So I'm off. And I am my best when I am on, and I have, my resources and everything. And my number one resource is my Sunlight sauna. So when I get home, it's always, I'm just craving it. And I mean, the other things, I'll just give you one more.
I love that.
As I love like really good quality walks. And what I mean by that is, Erin and I will take a walk and we just take in the environment and just appreciate the fact that we're able to walk and have fantastic conversations. And that's such a gift. And so it's a really good reset because there's no topic that there's nothing off limits. And so if you're wanting to, you've had a bad day or you just want to get something, off your chest, it's just a really good way to like share and then let it go. And this is the same thing I feel about my sauna. It's like be able to get in there. I go in there many, many times. So this is important for women because when I get in there, there's many times I am a stress ball. I mean, I am just like, you couldn't put more stress in me. And, I get out and I am as happy and as calm as can be. And a lot of times, so many things come to me as far as my head. And so I either write them down or I speak them or, somehow I get them, materialized so that I can access them later. And that's a great way to reset.
That's so good. And I feel like kind of what you're saying too, or at least how I'm interpreting it. And the reason that I think of the sauna as such a great reset is because before I had a sauna, what I typically would do was I'd be like, I'm getting in the bath, because in the bath, I can be present. And I would even like get my red light out and put it on the bath in front of me, to get that in. But you guys, it is just the gift to yourself of quiet and being off devices. And we just weren't designed to be on 24/7 the way that we are now. And so getting that away time in the sauna or in the bath, if you don't have one yet, I mean, it's a gift. It truly is a gift.
It is. I think it's one of the greatest gifts you could give yourself. And it's so easy, because all you have to do is go in and press a button and get in. I mean, there's nothing complicated about it at all. We've done all the hard work behind the scenes as far as making sure you're getting the highest quality infrared, the highest quantity infrared. It's all there for you. You just have to press the button and enjoy.
Yes. Connie, tell everybody in closing, just in case they don't know where to find you and Sunlighten and all that, tell them. And then you guys, I will of course link it down in the show notes as well as the exact one that we have. And then they have given me a specific affiliate link and code. So I'll put that down in the show notes. So if you're interested, you can get a very sizable discount off of one. And it has just been such a great investment. Eric and I are just like beyond grateful for ours. We love it so, so much.
Well, thank you so much for that feedback. So as far as the code, we will put it in the show notes, but the most important part of the code to get a significant discount is to mention this podcast, to mention Heather. So it's really, really important. So otherwise, that you just won't have the same access. So Heather Brown, mention that. As far as finding us, sunlighten.com, sunlighten.com is the easiest way. We're also all over social. I'm also all over social. You are more than welcome to reach out to me directly. We have a toll-free number, 877-292-0020. We also have chat on our website. We really try and meet the customers wherever they want and have the conversation in whatever way works best for them.
Love it. Well, Connie, it was a joy to have you today. I hope you have a blessed day, and I'm so thankful for the wisdom you shared with us today.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
You're so welcome. We'll see you next Tuesday, Girl Gang. Bye.
Y'all know I'm obsessed with all things optimal health, as clearly evidenced here on the podcast. Well, let me tell you about a new company and supplement line that I feel is truly going to change the face of not only our health, but also aging. Enter the crazy and amazing world of peptides. I know you've heard a ton about pharmaceutical kinds, the Ozempics, the Wegovy's of the world, all kinds of crazy with the results that people are getting, but also scary in regards to the possible side effects. What if we could get the same results with a peptide that was made in nature instead of a lab? That's where Make Wellness comes in and their line of bioactive precision peptides. You want to be leaner? You want to be fitter? Want to be more hydrated, more energized, focused, all of the above? I am literally obsessed with these, you guys, and I know you will be too. This is the future of where health is headed. Everything is linked in the show notes, so make sure to check them out. I think you're going to be just as obsessed as I am. Okay, friend, that's a wrap on this week's episode. If you're not already following me on Instagram, make sure to screenshot this episode, share it to your stories, and tag @Healthy by Heather Brown so I can connect with you in my DMs. It truly brings me so much joy to see how these episodes impact you. Make sure to subscribe so we can see you back here next Tuesday for our weekly show. In case you don't know, your downloads, ratings, and reviews are the actual lifeblood of this podcast, and it helps spread the word to your friends and family. So please hit the download button on this episode and leave a 5-star rating if you super loved it. And if we're really BFFs, you'll spread the happy and text this podcast link to someone who needs to hear it today for some encouragement. Scroll down to the show notes on this episode to see any and all links mentioned, freebies to fuel your health goals, prayer-related episodes, and the 7-day free trial of my exclusive membership where I personally coach and cheer you on in whole health. While you're there, make sure to check out my Amazon storefront with healthy snacks, my favorite look for less workout outfits, and books and devotionals that challenge me in my faith. If you ever need to find my Amazon storefront, just Google Healthy by Heather Brown Amazon and it will come up. Have a great day, girl gang.